Think back to the 3rd grade. Back then, you go to the mall with your parents, and either your favorite store is Claire's or Justice, and today it was Justice. At this age, the most popular girls usually went there. My mom hated going to that store, and I did not know why back then, but now I know. In reality, there's always more than one. There's more to every story than people may know. For example, when you look at a Vogue magazine, you see a beautiful model on the front cover, a full face of makeup, pure white teeth, perfect skin, everything you could ever want. Some may think, is that even anatomically possible? While someone else may think, I wish I could look just like that. Today I will be talking to you all about how all of us can switch the perspective and modernize all types of body types, not just Vogue magazine ones. First, let me educate you about the body types throughout history. According to the American Medical Association Journal of Ethics, a female's body was her best survival tool in a society that was primarily dominated by men. A woman's expectations were only dedicated to men for their own desire and marriageability. In the 17th century Victorian England, all social classes from the poor streetwalkers to the high-class citizen women used corsets and crinoline to shape themselves into hourglass shapes, which was the ideal shape. But beauty can kill. Reports of the dangers of corsets were known as the death of tight lacing. This caused fainting, restricted lung capacity, limited digestive function, and misaligned and deformed bones. Regardless of the risks, women still felt that wearing them was necessary. It was a life or death situation for them. But today, history and today are parallels. 93% of people struggle with their own personal body image. The body image tyranny is just getting worse. The beauty is usually linked to power, health, and personal success, which do influence personal identities, personal conception, and overall health. Next, let me remind you that the scale does not define you. Everyone goes to the doctor. I go every 6 months, and every time I go, and just like everyone else at their appointment, they get their height checked, their weight checked, and their blood pressure checked. When I get my height checked, I stand up against the wall of the measurement tool slider, straighten my back, square my shoulders, and add that extra inch because I need it. And then I get caught and I go flat-footed because I can't do that. The next is a blood pressure. I find that test pretty relaxing, and sometimes it gets a little too tight, but I tough it out. Next is the weight scale. I hate this test the most at every appointment I go to. There's only 2 possibilities for me. One, I either lose weight, and I either gain weight, and I get a disappointed look from the nurse, and because she can see my past charts and see that nothing has changed. Or I lose weight, and it's usually nothing drastic, and I get the same response. Because I know she's thinking, how could a girl like that ever do that? Have you ever had that experience? If you haven't, let me tell you, it's humiliating. Whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, I know how you feel. According to Dr. Richard Joseph, a faculty member at Harvard University and a clinician at Boston, Massachusetts, he reports that in a 29 long-term weight study, that more than half of the lost weight within people of the study were regained within 2 weeks. Or were regained within 2 weeks. By 5 years, more than 80% of the lost weight was regained. In simpler terms, short-term weight loss is much easier than long-term weight maintenance. So the next time you visit the doctor, give yourself a break. We cannot mistake failure for progress. The little things do make a difference, and eventually they do add up into bigger things. Lastly, let me tell you about how we can all take control of our own bodies and being comfortable in our own skins. According to New York Post, a survey of 2,000 Americans, 59% are not comfortable in their own skin. Their top confidence killers are overall body image, skin issues, ill-fitting clothes, social media, a comparison to celebrities or other people they may know. I have a strong feeling that every single one of you can relate to one or more of these confidence killers, myself included. Sometimes feeling these things feels so second nature to us, like it's just normal. But if you really think about it, isn't it weird how being comfortable in our own bodies seems unrealistic? And that's the problem. We should never feel incapable of loving our own bodies. The reality is we have the control. We all have the ability to love ourselves in the way that we want to portray ourselves, our best confident self to be. We should never feel obligated to do so. We have to do what's best for our well-being and our overall health. In the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a bit of belly that goes over your stomach, or a few stretch, or a lot of stretch marks over the curves of your body. Body standards are evolving, and it's our job to modernize all those body types as time moves on. We should never limit or compare ourselves to today's ideal body standards. You have to be mindful. The scale does not define you as a person, and as cliche as it sounds, weight is just a number. Whether you're in the 3rd grade or you're 30 years old, and you learn that sometimes you outgrow your favorite things, remind yourself that only you can define your own body as beautiful based on who you are and what you want yourself to be, instead of